Welcome back to the Achilles channel, everyone. Well, it's a sad day in the United States of America. It appears that General Stanley McCrystal will be replaced by General Petraeus. They're going to be taking General Petraeus from CENTCOM, Central Command, and bringing him to the front in Afghanistan. So now we're short a four-star general in the military, in an active role anywhere. So I mean, this is pretty disturbing. The deal with this is, I believe that General McCrystal was very upset at the rules of engagement in Afghanistan, and what has happened is it has led to a lot of deaths within the last few months in Afghanistan, more than normal, let's put it that way. And what the rules of engagement are, let me read these for you. Rule number 1, no shooting if civilians are present. So if you're being fired upon by the enemy, you cannot shoot back if there are civilians present. Well, see, these people hide behind civilians, so that's pretty ridiculous if you ask me. No shooting insurgents that are walking away from an IED. An insurgent that has just placed an IED, you cannot shoot that insurgent. So we're just supposed to, let them go on their way and, let them bury another IED somewhere else. That's a pretty good one, right? Only fire when fired upon. So basically, you can't shoot at the enemy standing in the middle of the road with a rocket launcher until he shoots his rocket at you. Okay, do you got that? Okay, until he shoots his rocket at you, you can't shoot him. You can't shoot at him. You can look at him, you can watch him pull the trigger. But to take him out prior to him killing you is against the rules of engagement. No surprise searches, no night searches, meaning the military cannot go into a village without telling somebody that they're coming first. So you can't surprise the enemy. You have to let them know you're coming so that they can move or what have you. I mean, it's only common courtesy to let your enemy know you're coming. I mean, this idea of surprise is an antiquated notion that we need to, lose, because we're not dealing with the wars of the past. This is the new way to fight wars. Like Israel does. They fight their wars with paint guns, and then, they have sidearms just in case the paint guns don't work. Paintball guns. This is all part of an ongoing revolution in the United States of America to destroy the system of this country, to collapse the system, to fundamentally transform it to something other than it is. And the only reason why they're collapsing it is because you can't change something that works. If it works and people are happy with it, they're not going to go along with the fundamental transformation. You must create crisis, and that's what they've done. They're using strategies that are just, right out of the 60s. They're using the Cloward-Piven Strategy, which is the purpose of the Cloward-Piven Strategy is to hasten the fall of capitalism. First proposed in 1966 and named after Columbia University sociologists, which I believe sociologists are very dangerous people. They deal with the mind. They deal with the understanding of the way people think. And they use that against people. That's what. So anybody who's a sociologist working in the government, you've got to be worried about that, because it's about the mind. It's about the mind. University sociologists Richard and Andrew Cloward and Francis Fox Piven, the Cloward-Piven Strategy seeks to hasten the fall of capitalism by overloading the government bureaucracy with a flood of impossible demands, thus pushing society into crisis and economic collapse. And that's what's happening here. They've got the help of the unions. The unions have infiltrated the government. Now all public employees are union, and they're fleecing the people. they're overloading the system of every state, every government agency. They're overloading the system with debt. And it's in our Constitution that we have to pay these people, our state constitutions, that we have to pay these entitlements. I heard this morning the only way to get out of paying these entitlements that the unions have promised the people, have told the people that they were taking their money and putting it aside for these entitlements, but really they were taking that money and funding their ideology, knowing that the government would bail them out because the government promised to. It's in the Constitution, they have to do it. In the Constitution of every state, you have to pay your state entitlements. The only way to do it is to let the state go bankrupt. The only way to get around that is to let the state go bankrupt and then renegotiate it in a bankruptcy court. Do you understand? So our states have to go bankrupt to get out of this deal with the unions that are slowly destroying, actually rapidly now, destroying this country, state by state. It's the Cloward-Piven Strategy to hasten the fall of capitalism under crisis and collapse from debt. It's all about Saul Alinsky. Do you understand? People don't understand why I talk about Saul Alinsky. Saul Alinsky says, remember, we are talking about revolution, not revelation. You can miss the target by shooting too high as well as too low. First, there are no rules for revolution any more than there are rules for love or rules for happiness. But there are rules for radicals who want to change their world. There are certain central concepts of action in human politics that operate regardless of the scene or the time. To know these is basic to a pragmatic attack on the system. These rules make the difference between being a realistic radical and being a rhetorical one. Attack on the system. It's revolution, not revelation. It's revolution. A silent revolution within the system of the United States of America to create disenchantment and discontent with the current system, which is capitalism. You understand? Fundamental transformation means he's taking the foundation, which is the Constitution, and they're changing it. And the Bill of Rights, they're changing it. They're taking this country from the American people. They're causing all of these crises. Did they cause the oil spill in the Gulf? Probably not, but they're going to be the cause of the catastrophe that's coming. Oil is already flooding on the beaches of Florida now. Did you hear about that? Why is it? When that oil was miles offshore, why wasn't it dealt with? Why didn't Barack Obama allow 13 other countries that have already offered help with booms and skimmers, why didn't he let them in? Because he wants that oil on shore. He wants the catastrophe to push forth cap and trade, which gives government more control, which is going to increase it's going to increase your energy costs. He could be taking that oil out of the water, but he's not. The financial collapse was created by the CRA, Community Reinvestment Act, and the deregulation of the banks through lifting the Glass-Steagall Act. Government did all this. They're creating all of this. They created it in the healthcare system. They regulated it in such a way that the insurance companies were no longer able to provide health insurance to people in other states. You could only buy it from your state, which created a monopoly within the insurance companies, which drove up prices, which allowed them to be horrible, allowed them to do deny claims. And where are you going to go? There's no competition. It took the right of people away from them to buy health insurance from anybody, and it eliminated competition. It's all been created by the government, by the progressive movement, working inside the system to fundamentally transform this country. And that's the bottom line. Did you know that Barack Obama is being pressured to give amnesty to illegal aliens in the United States of America through executive order? Did you know that in the financial bill, the decision on bailing out banks and deciding the fate of banks is no longer in the hands of Congress, which is the people? It has been written into the law that now the executive branch makes the decision. So we no longer have a say where our money goes when it pertains to the banking industry. You got that? So our power is being taken away. Every day, every bill that passes, there's wording in there that takes power from the people and gives it to the executive branch. A dictatorship. That's where we are today. God bless America. God save America.